Good afternoon. I wanted to go over a few items related to College Central and some of the other work that we've done with this class. For the ENG 162WA and WB classes and the English 162W3, you will be doing this resume assignment. But the one advantage of using www.collegecentral.com/WCCC is you can put in sample documents from this class or other classes under your education component of your portfolio. And then if you've ever been involved in activities such as Relay for Life, Students or Mothers Against Drunk Driving, the Breast Cancer, Foundation, any of those, I mean, your church youth ministry, that shows evidence of volunteer activity. You can also put those into your portfolio. I happen to have a scanner in my office here, but I mean, if you have one of those all-in-one scanners, you can scan in certificates and so on, and you can make them a PDF file. And those are very, very good to have because they show evidence of participation and activities in nonprofit community agencies. And certainly when you become a full-time employee for whatever organization you work, they do want employees to participate in the United Way, or we do like a heart walk here at WCCC, and so many other different organizations. But you build on contacts, obviously, as a full-time employee, but as a student, you get to know other people, and that's really what it's all about, is building connections and building contacts. And then certainly, if you've ever been a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, if you've ever been involved in any organizations, like Big Brothers or Big Sisters, or anything like that. But that's a good idea to develop an electronic portfolio. And then I also encourage you to keep a folder in your desk drawer. And anytime you get a note of thanks or anytime you're involved in something, just keep all that. And, like I said, that proves to be very, very useful for a number of different reasons. Ruth Zuban, who used to be a professor of English speech here at WCCC, she was the one that told me to do that. And I'm very glad that I did, because since I've been here, I've been promoted twice. I had to apply for the different ranks, and my current rank now is, professor. But I mean, I had all of that information to submit. A couple of years ago, I had to apply for this teaching award. I think I got it in 2007, and I've been involved in different presentations and so on, but they require information. And so, like I said, I keep this folder in my drawer, and I've used it for a number of different purposes. So, develop your portfolio through College Central, and if you wish, it's really not a bad idea. Some people still will have a binder that they take with them on interviews to show samples of their writing and work and so on, and it gives you something to talk about, particularly, not so much in your first interview, but if you go back for the second or your third interview, that proves to be helpful. And then, I also often talk about LinkedIn.com, and even putting a picture of yourself there is really helpful. Of course, your resume and some sample documents, and then, you can have, you can list your skills, but other people can endorse you. And so the other thing about it is say if you're an engineer, and if you're an electrical engineer, or if you're a rad tech, if you're in that radiology field, you can get connected to a local group, and that helps you to find other opportunities. So College Central, LinkedIn, and then, like I said, having an electronic portfolio and even a paper portfolio is very helpful, because the thing that I will tell you these days is the competition for positions is pretty fierce. We have a Perkins opening, a coordinator of Perkins, when we get money from the federal government for for different programs, but also for capital equipment such as computers and so on. That's what that person does. But we had over 70 people that applied for that position. So, as I said, it does help to market yourself and present yourself effectively. Your first resume when you're out of college, you can obviously, do it yourself or do it through career services. And, even in College Central, there's there's like you can create a resume through there. It goes block by block creating it. But of course, you can use one through Word, and you can create one there. You can open up a Word document, and then you can click New, and then it'll take you into resumes, and then they have resume samples. There's one that's an education-based resume, a chronological, but there's some that you can use from there. But what I would strongly suggest that you do as you get further into your career is once you get to your second or third job, pay a resume service to develop your resume. It'll be $200, $300, and maybe as much as $500 if they do a good bit for you. But the part about it is they'll produce a resume that's really amazing, and so it's worth the money. I pay to get my income taxes done, and I'm very glad that I do, because I mean I've had a series of really good benefits from working with a professional in that regard. So I just wanted to talk, like I said, a little bit about some of the services or some of the things that are available. Now, at WCCC also, too, if you're a student here and then, even after you leave, you can always come back and use our career services. And the other thing that you can do is we have librarians, professional reference librarians available to you now as a student, but you can always come back and they can help you to find information about a company or an organization, or, even when you're here now, if you need some help in doing a project or whatnot, that's what they do. They're available, and they're more than happy to have you. We have computer labs, and of course, those people are available to help you as well. As you get to the end of this class, make sure with all the documents that you have that you've written for this class, and you've done quite an array of them, I would make like a duplicate copy. I'd put those in a folder, and then I'd have a backup copy because, like I said, you've done quite an array of work for this class, and it's really pretty beneficial to you as a whole. The other point that I always kind of mention to students is, professionally, but also as a consumer, there are many times when you just have to be able to write out a problem or an issue and be able to document it and provide the documentation to get the resolution of a problem. And the example that I always use, a former student, his first name was Ron, he had a dispute with an online brokerage company, and they were supposed to do a trade, and they missed it, and then he ended up losing a pretty significant amount of money. It might have been like $10,000 or $12,000. It was he had planned this for some time, and they said, well, that's too bad. That's part of the risk of doing online trades and so on. And so he tried to reach resolution with them. He called them several times. He emailed, even wrote a letter, and basically they said, so sad, too bad, you can't do anything. He ended up filing a complaint with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and it took him well over a year to get the resolution of this, but they count on people just giving up. And he didn't give up. And so he said on the very last day, when this complaint was to be resolved, the company contacted him, and basically they had agreed to pay back the fee, penalties, and all that. So he also had some lawyer costs involved. So he was able to do that. But the reality is that many people say, well, I don't really have the time or effort, and this is a big company. But if you are persistent, it pays off. We had a former employee here at WCCC that did not want Walmart to come into Latrobe. They were able to successfully enter Latrobe, but her name was Mary Stubbs, and her and a small group of people were able to keep Walmart out of Latrobe for 5 years. And eventually, Kmart did not go ahead with this piece of property at Wildcat Commons near Latrobe High School, so Walmart ended up getting it. So, the people say, well, you can never win against big business, but if, like I said, if you are persistent, you definitely can. One other area that I wanted to mention to you that we don't do for this class, but I have done, I do in my in-class courses just because they're a different, we have a little bit more time in class and so on, particularly in the night class. One of the activities that I like to do and tend to do, there's actually two of them, I have students write a letter of bad news. And there's a whole chapter in my book, I believe it's chapter 6, on memos, letters, and emails and so on. And then they have, letter of good news, letter of bad news. They have different types of memos and writing email and so on. It's actually a pretty good chapter. But just to mention to you, if you do have to write a letter of bad news, the best suggestion is to use the passive voice instead of saying, I can't do anything for you because you have bad credit. He would write it in such a way to say consumers that have a credit score below 600 and that have one or more bankruptcies are not eligible to get a mortgage loan through Commercial National Bank of Pennsylvania. That works a little bit better, and it's a little bit more indirect than direct. And also our book advises you, when you write a letter of bad news, that you start off positively, you infer or imply the refusal, and then, as you go through a little bit with it, you indicate in the next paragraph your reason for not agreeing to what they ask, and then you give them a few options. You only give them 2 or 3, and then you ask them for a response within a week or 2, and that would be about it. And as like I know in teaching I run into that, but I mean, I'll give you a good example. A friend of mine worked, and he was director of human resources at a company, and his secretary wanted to take a month off for her daughter's wedding. And so my friend had to, tell the person and also write a letter to say, that's not possible. I mean, there's some options that we can have. I mean, at the very most, you can have a week and a half off, but, that's kind of an example. And I've had students in these online classes that drop out, and then here, like the next semester, they want to complete everything in a week. And, I have to write them a letter back and say, you know what, you can't do that. That's just, you should have thought of that before, but there's a few options you can consider. For the December break here at WCCC, we have a winter session it's like a 13-day class, and there's a couple different things that you can offer. So I did want to, to mention that. And then the other thing that I do in my in-class courses that is kind of interesting, we do a brief social media assignment as far as like some of the tools that you can use these days to market through social media. Some use Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. There's like some of these photo sites that you can use to post. Of course, YouTube, there's different options. So we do that kind of assignment in class. But anyhow, I just wanted to mention these couple of items to you. But my main emphasis today was just to talk a little bit about, some of these ways to do your resume, post your resume, create a portfolio, create a paper portfolio, and, things of that nature. So we're getting closer to the end of the semester, and if you have questions as you move along, you can always email me. But of course, like I said, you have my phone number. You can always call my office phone, home, or cell phone, and definitely would answer any questions that you have. Okay, thank you, and enjoy your Thanksgiving next week. Appreciate it.